The phone call that shattered my morning. I still remember the way the phone rang that morning. Not just as a sound, but as a tremor that passed through my chest. I had been making coffee, humming to the quiet rhythm of my loneliness, when the hospital number flashed on the screen. Mrs. Hale. The nurse asked, her voice professional, cautious. There's someone here who listed your husband as her emergency contact. Her name is Anna Reed. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The name fell into me like a stone into still water, creating ripples of memories I had tried to bury. Anna Reed, the woman who had quietly stolen my husband's laughter, his warmth, his evenings. The woman whose existence had been a shadow in every argument, every cold dinner. And now she was in the hospital. And for some reason they had called me. The drive, I told myself I wouldn't go. I told myself it wasn't my place. But curiosity is a cruel kind of fire. It burns reason. For as I drove, the city blurred past like a forgotten photograph. Gray buildings, tired faces, and autumn leaves brushing the windshield. Every red light gave me a chance to turn back, yet my hands wouldn't leave the steering wheel. My heart whispered questions I didn't want answered. Was he there with her? Was she dying? Why did she call me? I reached the hospital just as rain began to fall, soft and cold. I sat in the car for a long time, watching droplets race down the glass. I wanted to hate her, I really did. But beneath the anger there was something else, an ache that felt a lot like fear. The woman behind the door, room 302. The hallway smelled like antiseptic and loneliness. I could hear the faint beeping of machines, the slow drip of IVs, the low hum of air conditioning. My fingers trembled as I reached for the doorknob. And then, I froze. Because behind that door wasn't just her. It was every question I'd ever avoided, every night I'd spent crying into my pillow while pretending everything was fine. When I finally pushed it open, I wasn't prepared for what I saw. Anna lay in the hospital bed, frail and pale, with dark circles under her eyes. Her hair, the same honey blonde that had once shimmered in my husband's phone photos, was thin, dull, lifeless. She looked nothing like the woman I had imagined in my nightmares. She looked human. The first words, she looked up at me slowly, confusion clouding her face, then recognition flickered, and with it, shame. You came? She whispered, her voice dry. I didn't think you would. I didn't know what to say. The room felt too small for both of us. Me the wife, her, the mistress. Two women bound by the same man, yet worlds apart. I wasn't sure why I did. I finally murmured. Anna gave a small, tired laugh. I guess I just wanted to see the woman he should have never left. Her words hit me like glass. I wanted to be angry. But instead, I felt tears sting the corners of my eyes, because somewhere beneath all the hurt, her voice carried regret. The confession hours passed like minutes. We talked, slowly at first, then like two people holding on to the same sinking ship. She told me everything, how they met at a conference, how it started as friendship, how she believed him when he said our marriage was over in spirit. Told me he was lonely. She whispered, that you had grown distant. I felt my hands clench. He was lonely because he stopped talking to me. I said quietly. Because every time he lied, I built another wall. Anna's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to take him from you. I studied her face. The trembling chin, the guilt trembling through her voice. For the first time, I realized she wasn't the villain of my story. She was another broken person who had believed a broken man. The truth about my husband, he hadn't come. I asked her where he was, half expecting him to walk in any minute. Flowers in hand, guilt on his face. But Anna shook her head. He doesn't know I'm here. He left weeks ago. Left. She nodded weakly. He found someone else. Someone younger. The words hollowed out my chest. For a long time I just stared at her. The betrayal I had once carried like fire now turned cold heavy. We had both been abandoned by the same man. Different sides of the same cruelty. And in that small hospital room, surrounded by machines and silence, I realized something. He wasn't worth either of us crying over anymore. Letters from the past. Anna asked me to open the drawer beside her bed. Inside were several envelopes, tied with a faded ribbon. They're letters, she said softly. From him. I couldn't throw them away. I untied the ribbon and opened one. The handwriting was familiar. His looping cursive, his careless charm bleeding into every word. You make me feel alive again. She'll never understand me like you do. You're my real home. I felt the tears rise. But this time, they weren't for him. They were for the woman I used to be. The one who believed love meant sacrifice. Who forgave lies because she was afraid of being alone. I put the letters back gently. He didn't deserve either of us, I whispered. Anna smiled faintly. Maybe not. But you still have time to live again. The night of rain that night, I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe because leaving felt too cruel. Rain tapped against the window, and Anna's breathing grew shallow. She told me about her childhood, her dreams of becoming a painter, the loneliness of waiting for a man who never truly loved her. I thought he was my rescue, she said. But he was just another storm. I reached for her hand. We'll both drown in him, I said. But we can still find the shore. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The silence between us wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful. Two women who had finally seen the truth. The morning goodbye, when dawn came, she looked weaker. The nurse told me quietly that her condition was worsening. Anna asked me to promise something. Don't let him come, she said softly. I don't want him here when I go. Tears blurred my vision. I promise, as she smiled the smallest, saddest smile. Thank you for coming. I didn't think you'd ever forgive me. I squeezed her hand. Maybe forgiveness isn't something you give. Maybe it's something you grow into. And then she closed her eyes, and the monitors filled the room with the steady rhythm of farewell. The funeral was a small funeral, quiet, unadorned. No flowers from him, no calls, no apologies. I stood by her grave, holding a single white rose. I didn't cry. I had already cried all my tears in that hospital room. As I walked away, I felt the wind brush against my hair. Soft, almost like a whisper. It wasn't anger that filled me anymore, it was peace. Anna had been a chapter, painful, but necessary. She had shown me the mirror I had refused to face. And somehow through her, I had found my closure. The letter I never sent. Weeks later, I wrote a letter to my husband. I never mailed it. You broke me, but you also freed me. I thought I couldn't live without your love. But now I see, it was never love. It was dependency, fear, and the echo of promises you never kept. I visited the woman you loved and she forgave you when you didn't deserve it. Maybe I did too. But I won't return. Not to you, not to who I was. I'm learning to love myself again. I folded the letter, placed it in my drawer, and smiled through quiet tears. Outside, the morning sun spilled through the window. Warm and golden. I brewed my coffee again the same way I had that morning months ago. But this time the silence didn't hurt. It was peace. The kind that only comes after surviving a storm. THEND, bittersweet closure, healing, forgiveness, and emotional peace.